to be sent back to the committee. I understand that maybe it wasn't the committee's responsibility initially to come up with actual legislation, but I think we can have them do it now. And I think it's a better forum for them to critically and unbiasedly look and come up with even a couple versions, but of completely thought out legislation. So I do think this should go to a committee. I'm not going to move to have that now because I think some people want to have a discussion a little bit now, but please try and think that there are more of these coming up after this, so maybe it's best that we have the committee change its charter, or change its charge a little bit, and have them review all of these and come up with the best proposals from all of them. Now, my other objection with this is, hopefully you guys have had some time, really that was a little longer than 2 minutes, to read this. I'm just appalled at how much power this would give one individual to control all media board funding. And there are so few places in here in which council even has the ability to overturn that. But again, I'm against this entirely because we shouldn't have, like someone was saying earlier, our trigger on the funding finger. Our finger on the funding trigger. It really is going to politicize something that is very closely associated with free speech, which is a horrible idea to begin with. So maybe have a couple minutes of discussion here, talk what you like about it, talk what you don't like about it, but please be realistic in that we are not going to sit here and go through every single proposal that's been submitted to the speaker, and that we should send this to a committee to have them review. That's it.
Sure. To that, honestly, this is what the committee was charged to do, is to present the benefits and disadvantages of each option. And what we discussed in committee was letting council discuss each one. That's what we discussed in committee. That's what we're doing now. I think Chris later is going to come out and say that. But that's what we discussed in committee. That's what the agreement was to do. Honestly, this is our job here as elected representatives to make decisions. Right? This is our job, and to keep on sending it back to committee, I really just see it as a ploy of not listening to the voice of everybody who came to public input here earlier today. That's really how I see it. Regardless of whether this goes back to committee or not, it's not going to change the fact that this council has to make a final choice. This council is still going to debate all of the options. This council is still going to go through the language and amend it. This council is going to do all of that regardless of whether or not we send it back to committee for further revision. So for everyone who's complained about a bureaucracy getting in the way of making decisions, here it is. If you want to add more bureaucracy, send it back to committee where it won't make any difference. The committee will discuss it again, and then send it back to AS Council where we'll do all of this again. If that's what we want to do, fine. But I want to discuss this piece of legislation here, and I think that's what we need to do. So to discuss this piece of legislation, I think Jordan actually brings up good points. It is too many. It is too much power in the hands of one person. I think there are probably going to be amendments to change that. And I think we should welcome those amendments to develop a document that all councils can agree with. Now, in terms of the general principle, why am I in support of this? Realize, council, that $3.05 million of our budget is completely discretionary. $3.05 million of our budget is completely discretionary. The way we choose to fund, we do it by majority vote, right? That's how we fund. It's completely discretionary. That's what a democracy is, right? You vote to see where things are funded. We have decided, this was a decision we made, to open up a public forum for $0.05 million. $50,000 we decided we'd open up a public forum where we'd essentially require ourselves to fund every media organization that applies to our system. Now, we presented a model where we abolish that requirement and give ourselves discretion like we have discretion with the entirety of our budget. We already have this discretion. This is bringing that further discretion to us. In this case, it's something that our legal counsel thinks is legal, and they actually legal counsel feels that a lawsuit against this is remote. That's what they think. They think that a lawsuit against us is remote. You can listen to those who have, I haven't heard anything from the ACLU itself, but from those messengers from the ACLU really, the ACLU is going to be a biased opinion. The legal counsel we need to trust here is our own. This is the only other option that we could do. It's either going to be keeping open a public forum, and we've seen the abuse. We've heard the testimonials. I've passed on testimonials that were emailed to me before, where essentially the prime purpose of why we opened the public forum in the first place is not being met. The primary purpose originally was to promote campus life, make a positive influence on campus life. That's why we opened up the public forum. That's why we fund the organization. I think it's been clear today that we are not serving that purpose. And here we have a model where we can more effectively serve that purpose and actually represent every single student here at UC San Diego. And to cast away this model without looking at it, without considering it, without realizing that this is probably the best way for us to move forward, that this is what the U.S. government does, this is what the state government does, this is what San Diego does, it's not fair.
Okay.
She's walking in.
I'll follow her back. Next on the speakers list.
Okay, where do I start?
What?
First off, it is true that a lot of our budget is discretionary, but I think that if we were more transparent, we would use that correctly. I don't disagree with discretion in some ways how we do things is not necessary, but the fact that we overuse discretion is not in itself an argument to use more discretion in an area that is much trickier. Also, the fact that we've heard that a lawsuit is remote from our lawyers is likely due to the fact that it's in a legal gray area. Well, guess what? The ACLU would really like to make this not a gray area anymore, and there's only one way to really do that. Also, to George's point, I think that it may look bad for option B and C to not have legislation here tonight, but that's because only B and C, option A is the only option that does not require input from the community to have legislation formed around it. It is here because it doesn't require input, because it is a fully formed idea to itself, and if we bring it back to committee, we are just going to delay the process longer for no reason. And then the document itself, I really don't know where to start. I'm going to pretend for a second that I really love option A, that I'm a prime champion. I would say, you know what, the advertising model is great because it allows AS to be a vehicle. It allows the paper to be a vehicle for AS in terms of event calendars. There's a lot of good that could honestly come from allowing us to advertise in campus papers, assuming that there's not a purpose behind it. But this isn't even a thinly veiled attempt to kill the koala, and only to kill the koala, because look at the purpose. Commitment to the principles of community. We heard this idea pitched in the committee. And by the way, in the committee, we did not hear that this would be coming to council with legislation behind it. We had no idea. No one in the committee read this before 15 minutes ago. We heard that the principles of community would be the inaugural ad of the initiative, and that it would be one of possibly other initiatives to actually make the advertising model a decent model. But here's built right into the entire thing that all it's going to be about is running an ad based on the principles of community. And there's no way to call that not killing the koala. Let me see. The council must approve the advertising committee by majority vote. Unless it's already been approved in the past 2 quarters, that's really a fancy way of saying that if we pass it once, if we get to pass it for an entire year. VP Finance, everyone's going to say what I'm saying right now. This is a ridiculous amount of power without oversight. It is for a single purpose only, and it takes away any good that could have actually come from the model. I might have been in favor of the advertising model if I thought it could help us promote events for students and to help us promote student life. Maybe get more people to come to Sundog. Maybe get people to come to events that they wouldn't have a chance to be heard through other vehicles. They could come to AS and say, hey, what do you think my opinion or paper? Make it something dynamic and changing. This is a purpose document, and it's ridiculous. I'm sorry.